Welcome back to the Always Aggressive podcast, fellas. It's been a couple weeks. I know you guys had a big Saturday night this past weekend, sort of put a bow on the season. I'll just tee it up there. Tell us about the festivities, the little team banquet that you had, and there were some award winners coming out of that.
Yeah, much of like this year of COVID, right? There was some good and some bad. I'll put it that way in terms of this is, yes, we were able to get together and have a team meal from compliance, with Jacqueline or Tom out there. It was not a banquet with parents and family and friends, which that's the
team meal.
Yeah, it was a team meal.
Yes.
So I want to be clear on that point. And so it was just the team together, and so it was great that we did have a chance to get together because we start finals on Monday, and that's coming quick. And then a lot of seniors are going to depart, for jobs in the next stage of life. So it was great that we got together. I was just disappointed that we couldn't have everybody there because what a fun night that usually is. But you're right. We got to hand out some awards and kind of look back on the year.
Let's go ahead and get into those awards. Several guys got recognized for their outstanding 2021 seasons.
Yes. Okay. Well, and we'll just take her down, do a quick rundown for you then. So Jared Florell won the Patasso Leadership Award. Great award. This year he was on a couple of different committees, right? He's been on our SAC, athletic group from a leadership standpoint. He's been working on the Big Ten, anti-racism, inequality group as well, providing, some insights and putting time there, as well as just what he's done for our team. And he's always been, as we've had him on the show before, talking about leadership and kind of, his journey. So it was nice to reward him for the job he's done. And many people may not know he had a really tough ending to his career. He was getting ready to be our representative at the Big Ten tournament and had come along slow because of a knee injury and then had a fracture in his leg where the screws were and had a setback just a week before and was actually looking good in the room. So
looked really good.
Tough ending. What's that, Tanner?
I said he was looking really good. He actually, when he suffered the injury, I remember he was up 14-0 in a simulation match a week out from Big Tens. And he cut the guy he was wrestling to go chase the tech fall. And just it was like a sniper shot him. He just went down.
Yeah. Pushed off the leg really hard. And that fracture, where the little weakness was there. And tough ending to his career. But again, we thanked him for his leadership and what he's meant to the team, even though, he didn't get to compete probably as much as he would have liked to in his career. Thomas Pinola as a round of 12 guy and a guy who had a very consistent, steady season, had 2 awards, was our most dedicated and our most improved, which is interesting to me because, he qualified last year at heavyweight, came back down to his more natural weight and was right on the door, to be an All-American. So, and as disciplined a kid, right, with his life, as you will find. So certainly deserving of both most dedicated and most improved. With those awards.
I think it was fascinating, Tony, that, Thomas, even in the shortened season, put up some career high numbers for scoring.
Mm-hmm.
And, really I think he scored almost half his points on the season in the third period.
Not surprising with his pace, right? As the other guy weakens, he gets stronger. And I thought that was a big positive. I think he had maybe 42 takedowns. And don't quote me.
No, that's exactly right.
Is that right? Okay. Cool. So I was thinking he had 42 takedowns in his matches, which was really good because at heavyweight, you understand what a slower grind that is in terms of scoring and attacking. And so he made a nice transition and found some offense, as you said, especially in the third period. So that was great for him. The next award was kind of our Boiler Up Tough award. And I told the team I could have maybe given this to the entire team with what we went through with COVID. Everybody was in quarantine or isolation at some time and away from teammates and family. So it was a tough year in a lot of different ways for everyone. But I wound up, and not just me, our staff, everybody should know that this is a staff, these are staff decisions, chose Max Lyon as the Boiler Up Tough Award. My man was in quarantine indoor isolation 4 times this year, 2 months of his life. And you got an active athlete who was not able to be in the wrestling room with us and work out. And I know, matter of fact, he went to Wisconsin a couple times just to train in the outdoors and be by himself. And so for kind of the mental toughness he showed and the good work he did, we gave him the Boiler Up Tough Award.
And not to mention the fact, Tony, all but 2 of his matches during the season, I think it was 15 of his 17 matches this season, came against ranked opponents.
Yeah.
Like he wrestled a brutally tough schedule. And honestly, and one of the 2 guys that he wrestled that wasn't ranked was Owen Webster from Minnesota, who, he wrestled him before he got ranked. So, when you look at 16 of 17, realistically, were ranked opponents.
That's what a Big Ten only schedule will do for you. And, so he did. He had a Boiler Up Tough Award for a lot of reasons there too, with not only being in quarantine and isolation for 2 months, the schedule that he wrestled certainly dictated that as well. The freshman of the year, Garrett Nienhaus, had a very strong year, as we've discussed before. Top 5 finish at Big Tens, hadn't been done in a long time. At Purdue, clearly comes back as a freshman, and so we're really excited about his next 4 years. So very deserving of that award. I will say Jake Rundell, right, was close. Jake just had a slower start to his season, and just was a little behind. But again, 2 outstanding guys who were top 5 and 6 at Big Tens that will still have 4 years of eligibility for us. Now, lastly, the outstanding wrestler on the team and the most dominant went to the same gentleman, Devin Schroeder, collected both of those awards. Devin, obviously knows how to put points on the board, especially from top. Also wrestled a very strong schedule and found a way, was rounded 12, very tough ending to his season. But as we've said before, is going to come back and join us next year and finish his career in Detroit. He's going to start and end his career in his home state, which I think is awesome. Yeah. And been a great leader for us as well the last couple of years.
For sure. And, it was a bummer. Devin couldn't be with us on Saturday. Oh. His girlfriend tested positive and put him into quarantine last week. And so that was and he's another guy. I mean, how many times has Devin been in quarantine?
Oh, I would say at least 3. I don't know if he's maybe this is 4 now.
It might have been 4.
It might be
at least 3.
It's amazing. Like you think about the fact that these guys get kicked out of the room for what was 2 weeks at a time, and now obviously with new recommendations from the CDC and from the state that that's gone down. But and it was brutal for those guys to get in and out.
Well, and I know it was kind of brutal for us just putting it together. We had to go fast. We drug our feet because we're trying to, you get back from nationals and you get your feet under the ground. People took a little vacation, right? Like you're just trying to decompress. And then you had a few more positives, as we just talked about, or isolations. And then finally we just thought, well, geez, we got to have a date to get it in. Otherwise we may never get it in with everybody. And so, as you said, it was disappointing to me that Devin couldn't be there, but at the end, finals are next week and then people are going to disappear. So we had to pull the trigger on it. And I am grateful that we did get a chance to get together at least.
I thought one of the more impressive parts of the night, in my opinion, we opened the floor for the seniors to come up and speak, and not all of them came up, but a few of them came up and shared some words with their teammates. And I think it's always, coming up on 20 years in college athletics for me, which makes me feel really old.
It's a big number.
Right? And watching these kids reflect, and I say kids because I'm old, but young men, I apologize, young men.
You don't disrespect them. You'll have a few guys come find you.
For sure. And God knows I don't want any of that. What do the kids say? I don't want that smoke. Is that how they say it?
I think that's what they said. Yes.
But watching them reflect on their careers and on their time in college when it's all said and done, and listening to how some of them are able to verbalize that, especially in front of their peers. is always one of my favorite things in college sports, and the appreciation that they show. And, you hear them say it all the time, like, don't take it for granted. It's over before you know it. And it sounds so cliche, but at the same time, I mean, when you see the realization for these kids and like when that aha moment, like, man, that was fast type of deal. It's always interesting. And no matter how many times the kids hear it in their 4 years, like once that moment actually hits them, like it's always this huge like epiphany. Like they had no idea that was going to happen. No matter how many times we tell them,
bro, we told you.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there's two phrases in my mind that come when you're talking, and they're both absolutely true. I mean, one is, how fast these college years are going to go. And I always pray that our freshmen are listening, these young guys that redshirted, or actually they didn't redshirt this year.
Nobody redshirted.
Right, which was awesome for them. They got that competition, but I do hope they understand how fast this can and will go. And they also saw some life experiences, like in terms of Jared, he didn't get his opportunity, and that's hard. You know what I mean? Like that's really hard. You see a guy who was going to get a chance to check another goal that he had with competing in the Big Tens and trying to get something done, and that was stolen from him late. So you hope these kids come out with an appreciation of how fast it really does go, and that it should be valued, because I think it puts a great perception or casts a really good light on just feeling thankful, right? When you're doing the hard work, and we just can't take the hard work out of the sport to be successful. So to value that or look at that in a really positive light, which should happen, right? When you hear these guys talk, I think is commendable. And the last one, just so you know, your kids do grow up fast. I was told that. My kids are 10 now. So that was the other phrase that people always tell me, you know what I mean? Don't think, these next 4 or 5 years are going to go fast. And other people say, hey, when I'm rolling my eyes because we're going from one baseball game to get another kid to swim practice, to get another kid to wrestling practice, and you feel like you're on a carousel, it's always, it's going to go fast. So I guess I gotta tell myself that as well.
No kidding. The other thing I wanted to say from the banquet was,
team
a
meal.
special thank you.
Team meal.
Get it right.
Team meal. Apologies. Another note from the team meal. Special thanks to Elaine Wanstreet for helping us coordinate the menu for the team meal. She did so on short notice and really got us something quick. And Taze River here locally helped us out, and the brisket was delicious. And that dessert they brought, Tony, was stupid. It was like a chocolate custard, and it was unreal.
Yeah, and it was kind of like frozen, not frozen hard, solid, right? But it was like a frozen custard kind of a drink. Yeah, it was good.
It was so good. Unreal.
Only time I tell the guys, go back for seconds. Go
right?
Hit it hard. So crush it.
You're about as far away from needing to cut weight as you're going to be. So
that's right.
I think we got Max Lyon up there like 4 times. It was pretty impressive.
That is.
So, wanted to change subjects to kind of more of a national conversation here for a second, Tony. One of the huge parts of the offseason in college sports really, but college wrestling right now has become the transfer portal. It's been sensationalized to a certain degree. Kids, there is more opportunity, and it's become more socially acceptable for kids to, uproot in the middle of their college careers and go find a new home. Wrestling is not to the point of, so let's say football or men's and women's basketball. But the portal numbers are getting bigger every year, and more kids are changing their minds and trying to go find a new place. I mean, basketball's in the thousands.
1,500, I think they had it here maybe a week ago.
I read something that the men and women combined were well over 2,000. I think the men are, like I said, I think the men are like 1,400, 1,500, and the women are just over 1,000, which is nuts. But wanted to kind of get your take on the subject and the transfer portal and how that has changed during your career.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's like anything. There's good and there's bad, right? There's always pros and cons, and you've got to weigh them out. And, I think the transfer portal is probably good for those kids who really need a home. And by that, I mean, let's say you've got a young man, he's never started, he's pretty good, and he's got an opportunity, to go to another place and start and a chance to accomplish some goals, right? Get something done that maybe he's worked very hard for. That's what in my opinion, that's what the portal's been designed for, right? And should be used by those guys. My fear is that you have kids who wind up just leaving on a whim because, it was a hard practice that day, or coach got after them, or, and they may be some of the best members of their team. And now there's maybe just a spot that opened up on the last national championship team. And so you're flipping, just thinking the grass is greener. You know what I mean? And I think that creates dangerous situations that you have to be aware of, right? As a coach. So again, there's good and there's bad. I think young men and women have to just be careful about their reasons why they're doing it. Make sure they evaluate it, especially when you look at like football and basketball, where there's so many other the intentions of other people you're not going to know, right? We're not competing for millions or thousands of dollars. And I'm sure there's a lot of, people out there that would love to direct a kid in a certain way, hoping to cash in, in some instances. And we know that's gone on a lot, especially in basketball. It seems like you hear stories. So I think you've got to really be careful about the motivations and why they're leaving. The other negative that I find, though, is, and this has been on Twitter a lot, if you follow certain people, people are now poaching kids, more, in my opinion, or at least you hear about it more in wrestling. Maybe it's always gone on, but with social media, people know, this kid's got an extra year. Let's get on him. And that's certainly illegal, right? When he's at another school and competing for them, my concern is now you have other coaches talking to these kids, sending messages that, we would like you. We got a spot for you. And again, letting them know that they'd have money or a home for those kids. And that's certainly not what you want either, right? That crosses a line, in my opinion. It's different if a kid's in the portal and expressed a reason to go, and now you can have those conversations, but you just hear about more and more of those conversations all the time that should not absolutely be taking place. And certainly, our kids need to be aware of that as well, that, you might have 2 years, but somebody could be looking down the road saying, okay, hey, in another year, this kid's going to be up and he's going to be ready to leave. Let's get on him now. And that shouldn't be done. So again, I think if you use it correctly, right, somebody needs a home, and an opportunity, it can be a great thing. That's what it's there for. But people using it in ways that were unintended is where I hope it doesn't go. I hope that's not the norm, with team hopping or people interfering with kids on other teams, why they still have eligibility and they're there.
Yeah. I look at it two different ways as well. I think, I think it's a good thing for kids who, when you choose a school, it's tough. You often maybe you visit one time, or you visit. Some kids don't visit at all, right? You talk to these coaches on the phone a little bit. Sometimes you don't get to know them as well as maybe you should, and so a kid winds up someplace and they're not happy. They don't like their situation. They don't like, where they are. They're too far from home. They're, whatever. There's a variety of things. And so giving a kid the ability to, like, what? I made a mistake. I need to rectify that mistake for my life so that I can, so I would never want to deny a kid happiness. Like that is hard. And so I think in that case, for the student athlete to have that chance is good. But on the other side of it, I look at the fact that, like, especially like in my role with our team and getting to do things like, we invest time and energy getting to know these kids and these families. And we make a commitment to them. We commit to bringing these young men in to be a part of our family for 5 years, and we make plans around them. And we have, we don't just think about them in a vacuum of like just that one season. We think about them for 5 seasons. We think about them for the length of their career. and what they're going to, do and mean to our program. And so when a young person up and just says, nah, I'm out, and I'm not speaking specifically about us, because we haven't had a lot of people in the transfer portal, which I think is great. But coaches of other sports I've seen where, a coach is getting ready for their roster for next year, and all of a sudden, like, players A, B, and C are like, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why? I just am. That's the crazy
I agree.
thing.
I mean,
the kids don't have to give a reason. They don't have to, there's no justification. There's no, like, they can just, I just feel like leaving.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me.
Sure. No, I like you said, there's lots of good reasons on both sides. And I think you made a very strong point of, happiness for a kid in his situation, right? You want them to be happy because, especially in wrestling, I mean, I know all Division I athletics are very demanding. The sacrifice demanded in our sport is very high. Okay. With making weight and competing and competing in a league that is very good. And there's a ton of positives there, but you've got to want that. You know what I mean? You want to be at that level and seek that level. And if it's not for you, then yeah, I think, changing scenery can be positive. But as you said, you make a commitment and you hope that everybody's invested and on the same page. And I think that's what we try to get done through our recruiting process is you really try to find out, what makes them tick? How do they view training? How do they view competing? How do they view their degree? And if you feel like you really line up and you're on the same page from the start, then it's going to be a good fit. It's going to weather the tough times, and there's always hard times, I mean, it's just
always,
like I said, it's tough. So there'll be tough times, but if you're on the same page, it's a great fit. You'll get through it together, and that's going to make your experience that much better.
Corey, you have any take on this whole thing?
No, I think you kind of touched on a little bit, it's not going anywhere, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be tough for coaches to figure it out. It's going to be tough for programs to figure it out. Like, okay, this is now the reality. How do we build a team in this new reality? And the programs that figure that out are probably going to succeed a little bit more, a little bit quicker than the ones that don't. And it's one of those deals where I'm not certain the people who made this a reality understood all the ramifications for it, but that's the way it goes sometimes. And it is what it is, and you better figure it out because it's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
for sure.
It takes a certain, I wouldn't listen. I'm not going to say that I won't be, we all have to adjust. So the way we approach this in the future, as it becomes maybe more important in wrestling, because it's not been, right? Like our number of athletes, even this year, because let's face it, we've always had that one-time transfer, right? That's something that we've had. Now these other sports are getting there, and it seems to be opening up the floodgates. But wrestling's had it, and it's not been at the level that you're seeing with these other sports. So maybe it won't change that much. It may not. My concern is, and like I said, you're seeing more on social that people are going to approach kids and try to entice kids about, hopping, and going somewhere else. And that part, I don't want any part of that. But I guess I've always viewed, you build your team, right? You create your foundation and you move up. And I think it's hard to do that with lots of transfers. Not that, there's lots of kids who deserve an opportunity and a chance, and we're happy to talk to those kids. But man, there's something to be said, in my opinion, for bringing in these 17-year-old freshmen and developing them, right? And then watching them leave 5 years later, 4 years later, whatever it is, and go on to the next stage. Like, I really enjoy that part of the process with college athletics. So for me personally, I don't know that I ever want to create a team where you got them for a year and then they're out. And then there's another guy for a year and then they're out. I really believe in kind of the culture you create through sustained, leadership in that way. And it's harder to do that, in my opinion, with lots of transfers year in and year out.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see where this really goes.
I think my biggest issue with the transfer portal does not lie in the side of the student athletes or the coaches. I find myself frustrated with the way that it's been sensationalized and glamorized and made almost like a free agency type deal by the media and by, by social media and the people that follow, and the fact that, it just seems like it's, it's cool and it's hip and it's they're making a huge splashy deal of it. Kids get to commit all over again and get all the graphics again and do all that. And that bugs me personally. Just because it just feels like it's against the system of what college athletics is supposed to be.
Right. Well, and I go back, and this is not our sport right now. It will be interesting to see what name, image, and likeness does, right, with some of this possibly.
Yep.
But, there's motives of people that you don't always know what their motives are, right? I mean, their motives are their own monetary wealth, and then they have an interest in seeing a young man jump ship and go somewhere else to put him in a better position so they can cash in. That's not wrestling. But certainly, I've been in college athletics long enough to hear stories and know how certain things go. So that's what I worry about is you have young people that maybe they don't see the bigger picture yet. And they're not seeing the angle of why this person is maybe advising you to do this X, do X, do this, leave here and go here. And it's going to be better for you. But is it really? And then that young person leaves and now they're in a worse situation than they were before, right? Like, you were happy, but somebody's in your ear saying, hey, go here. You'll be better. You're not getting developed here. You're not doing as well as you could. Go here, you will. But really, is it going to be a better fit? Are they going to accomplish more, right? They were happy. See, those are the things to go to your point. Maybe they were happy, but they just think, well, I didn't average 12 points a game. I averaged 8. And if I go here, I'll average 12. That's what I worry about is you get into things like that, and now people aren't in better situations.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Those kinds of things are what would worry me more. And fortunately, we've not had to worry about that as much in wrestling.
For sure. So one of my favorite Tony Ersland sayings. We get to wrestle this weekend. Another opportunity to compete for some of our young men. We're going to take a small group out to Coralville, Iowa for the UWW Junior and Senior National World Team Trials. Should be an incredible weekend, Tony.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited, man. It's my first event in a long time, for us. So for me personally, I know we had guys that went last fall. And Shop and Vega took those guys, and I was staying at home because we were on the verge of a season.
Yep.
To watch. So it'll be a lot of fun to go. The only bummer for me is we're not taking as many guys as I would like to, with finals starting on Monday. Normally we have a bunch of people at this event, but finals start Monday, and we've got a lot of guys that have a lot of finals on Monday. So our group, we're down to 5 kids, which is great. Those 5 will go, and it'll be fun to watch them compete. I only wish it was, about 10 more, to tell you the truth. The good news for people, I'll drop this before we go into this event, though, is we are looking at University Nationals May 27th through the 30th. We're waiting on that information, the details to come out. Mm-hmm. Just stay tuned. These guys they're kind of bummed because they don't get to go because of their final schedule. In a month, we're going to be taking them out again to university. So people will get a chance to see them compete and watch them. So, but for now, if we talk, I guess I'll just I'll let you take it after I say who's going where here, Tanner.
Sure.
But Parker Filius, Emil Sunland, and Max Lyon will be competing in the open division this weekend. And then Cooper Norrie and McCartney Parkinson will be in the juniors. So that's the 5 that we've got going. And then we'll be cornering this weekend. Yeah.
Parker's set to compete at 65 kilos. Emil's going to be at 79, and Max Lyon will be at 86. And then down in the junior division, Coop's going to go at 74, and McCartney's going to go at 86. So it'll be great to see those guys get back out and compete. Do some freestyle, do something a little different. They've been working on that stuff in the room, but it'll be good. The juniors is going to be held over 2 days. Is that correct, Tony? Juniors
Yeah,
over
that's
2
going to
days.
be the Saturday, Sunday tournament. And
then seniors is all
Saturday,
Sunday,
I believe.
Yeah, the seniors are all Sunday. So yeah, it'll be fun to see those guys go do freestyle. The junior divisions, obviously I haven't seen anything official, but it looks like the junior division is going to be huge.
Yeah.
It looks like there are a boatload of kids registered for that tournament.
Yep.
So that'll be wild to see how big those brackets are and how many kids end up being entered at each weight. And then there's some big names in the senior open. It should be fun to see those guys get out there and scrap.
Yeah, no, and that's not new, right? With the junior brackets being so large, that's always the case. Typically we're in Las Vegas, right? In the open and the juniors same time. Those junior brackets are always deep. You know what I mean? It takes a good kid in a lot of matches typically to be on the podium at those events. So I'm looking forward to it. It's just going to be fun. It's more normalcy again. Like for me, it's just more of what our normal schedule is. Again, I'm bummed it's a little late. So we've got kids with finals, but the fact we're going to be there and it's gonna be great. Keeps me excited.
Yeah, we got a little taste last weekend with the cadet world team trials going on up in Wisconsin, and watching some kids, make a world team and do that. And so it'll be fun to go experience, the same thing for our guys in the junior and senior divisions, and watch them take their shot.
Yeah. No, those events, it's like state tournaments for me. When you watch the young kids, you got kids, they've had these goals to make a world team, you know what I mean? To go to Bulgaria or wherever the team's going that year. And it gets you excited when you watch these young kids, throw everything they got out there to make the team. And we're on a lot of good kids. You talk about last weekend, there's a lot of kids that we've been on for a long time now that are doing very well. So that's got me excited too. The fact that we're in very deep on so many good kids that can really help Purdue wrestling.
Yeah. Speaking of recruiting, we haven't talked about this too much, but the NCAA did declare the end of the dead period coming May 31st. And so it'll be interesting and fun to get back to some normalcy of recruiting.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. My wife, Carolyn, asked me last night too, what the summer's going to be like, what my travel schedule visits like. And I told her, I don't know. I just know it's busy. Like, I don't have the dates all done yet. I just know it's going to be really busy.
Right.
So we're going to be trying to, catch up, if you will, with the juniors as far as having them on campus. And then June 15th, you get going on the sophomores, right? So you're going to have two really big groups, important groups going, at one time. So we're going to be going like our hair's on fire. Yours is already gone, Tanner, so you're in good shape. But no, it's getting ready to heat up. So all I could tell her was, I don't know for sure. I just know I'm going to be busy. That's where
absolutely. Absolutely. I think we're booking some trips around the state. We've got some guys in 2022 and 2023 here in the great wrestling state of Indiana that we're hoping to get to spend some more time with here very soon.
Yeah, I tell you, the next couple of classes, great talent in Indiana. We're really excited. We're really excited about keeping talent, at home as well, right? Like that's always the goal. But there's some guys that can really do it that we're, like I said, we'll throw the kitchen sink at them. Like the kids trying to make those world teams was out there throwing everything they had. We'll be doing the same this summer. So it's going to be fun. It's good to be busy, right? Like, sitting at home doing these Zoom calls, not the most fun. So, it'll be good just to see people again and show them what Purdue is on campus, which I think is a huge part. We do well when kids are on campus with us. I've always said that, you know what I mean? So
Carolyn's ready to get you out of the house anyway.
Yeah.
I have to believe that's true. I have to. Yeah.
Oh no.
A long year for her.
Yes.
Guys, before we wrap it up, I've got two things, one wrestling related and one not. Kind of broke this week. It touches a few fellas who used to be in the Purdue wrestling family, and they're kind of like, they're kind of like outcasts now because they left, but we won't hold that against them. Missouri made the big announcement that they're moving from the MAC back to the Big 12, and that has, they dominated the MAC. It was probably a bad fit from the word go, and everybody understands that. They have 9 straight conference championships or something crazy like that. But that's an interesting move. Just what are your thoughts on that?
I'm not surprised. I've known that they've been looking, right? Coach Smith over there, you've heard rumblings that he was looking to move and get out. And you're right, it wasn't probably a great fit, with their resources and budgets and what they have versus, some of those other Mid-American Conference schools. So it's probably a good thing they're back, inside the Big 12. But it's weird, though. I guess what I find interesting is that the Big 12 is going to take them from a wrestling only, right? When you see this isn't Missouri's leaving the SEC and coming back to the Big 12 as an affiliate member. It's just wrestling. And so I find that I wonder what the conversations were like to take a school who wanted out. Now you let them back in for one sport only, and what that really looked like, So I find it interesting. I would love to have been in on those conversations and what was really said and how they viewed it. But at the end of the day, it looks like Fresno, right, losing their program, has now left. So the Big 12 was left without a program. They needed one. Missouri's done a nice job, so it's probably a good move to replace that member with them, especially since they needed the spot.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then one last thing, today's a big day in the Purdue world. Purdue Day of Giving has been going on since 12 a.m. This early morning, and athletics was in the lead early. I think the athletics had raised almost $1 million last time I checked, and so we're off and running, and we appreciate all the support. We've got some links out there for our alumni. We are doing some cool sport challenges this year for the first time, and there's 3 challenges. The team with the highest percentage of alumni donating is going to get a bonus to their operations budget. And that means that's just a participation number. You can give $10, doesn't matter. But if all our alums who listen and watch, go find that link for wrestling. We got it on Twitter. It's out on Facebook, a couple places. Go click that link. Go give us some of your hard-earned dollars, so maybe we can do a little bit more next year with our budget. The team that raises the most money, obviously. And then the team that has this, I'm going to put this on Ersland. Here comes the challenge. The team whose head coach raises the most money themselves gets a bump to their operating budget. So Tony will be putting some stuff here on social media to get people to pony up and help us out. So we know it's been a tough year for everybody. And if you can't give, no hard feelings, but we appreciate those who can.
100%. That's perfect. Be a big day for us. Big day. So help us out if you can.
Absolutely. I think we've touched on everything. Go give. If you're listening to this on April 28th, if it's April 29th, before you got to wrap the podcast, sorry, you got to wait till next year. But we'll let you know about that then. Guys, good luck at Coralville this weekend. Can't wait to see those results. Good luck to the fellas going out there, and keep hustling. I know there's other big things in the works. I'll let you go. We'll let you get back to the important stuff and stop with the silly podcast for the week. For Tony and Tanner, I'm Corey. Thanks for joining us. Boiler up.